That poor lobster. Throw me a freaking bone here. Who is talking to the weather people? Nothing can stop the claw. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I was really wanting to do a corn pasta because summer. I do not mean that the pasta is made out of corn. Actually, there is lemon juice in the pasta. I will write the name of the pasta, which I have already forgotten, here for you. I got this recipe from the New York Times. They had a recipe for creamed corn pasta. That's what I was kind of researching. Theirs called for no cream, and I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to make a creamed corn pasta with no cream. Of course, there was a fair amount of butter and a little bit of cheese. But this is the first time that I've ever made a pasta sauce out of blended corn. So it's just gonna be really corny. Their recipe, it did not call for lobster, but I decided to add some lobster because I had some in the freezer. I would have added more had I had more. That's just like what I had, but next time I will totally add more. Got my forking love you fork. I am so hungry. I wanted to eat hours ago, and it just wasn't able to happen for me until right now. I don't know what's going on in there. All right, guys. Keep in mind, like, you can reserve as much pasta water as you want to add to the sauce. It's not meant to be like this crazy saucy thing. And it's really hard to actually see the sauce on this because the pasta is the same color as the sauce, pretty much. All right, guys, without further ado, cheers. Wow, that is so good. The corn, it's so corny. It tastes so much like fresh corn, sweet, really buttery from having browned that butter and like caramelizing those whole pieces of corn in it. I love that there's like two kinds of corn here. There's the corn puree and that caramelized corn, which started to pop, by the way. I don't know if you guys were paying attention to that, but it was popcorn. That lemon juice right at the end, it didn't have like a chance to cook off, and so you're really getting that like nice fresh hit of acid. It's so good. You can also add fresh mint to this. It said fresh mint or basil. I decided to go with basil here because I have another recipe that I want to do with mint. So decided to stick with basil, plus I have like a ton of it. Not that I don't have a ton of mint. Oh my gosh. I'll tell you guys about that in a second. Wow. This is so good. I can't tell how much of the lemon flavor is from the lemon pasta, but I'm so happy that I used it. I'm very satisfied with the amount of lemoniness. 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 The word has lost all meaning. So this is like maybe my third time cooking lobster, and this time it came out of the shell raw, and I had no idea how long to cook it for, but I didn't want to cook it separately. I wanted to just cook it in the same pot as everything else. And so because all of the pieces were different sizes, I didn't want to like set a timer or anything. I just have my meat thermometer, which I highly recommend you guys get. They're really not expensive at all. I've actually added it to my Amazon shop, the one that I use, under kitchen, and I always link that in the description of the video for anybody that wants to take a look at it. This pan is also included there. Anyways, so I was just testing the individual pieces of lobster, and it took literally like a minute or two. I mean, the pan was fairly hot when I added them in, but it took like no time at all for them to come to the safe cooking temperature. I just can't stand, guys, people overcook lobster like it's their friggin' job. That's why I never order lobster mac and cheese out at restaurants. Every time I see an influencer post a lobster mac and cheese video, it's like the restaurant has cooked lobster, then they add it to a pan with butter, cook it more, then they add the pasta, the cheese, cook it more, then they inevitably will like add it to a pan and put it under a broiler and cook it more. And I am just like, oh my God, that lobster, that poor, poor lobster. And whoever's eating this, like, how much more are you paying for this lobster that they just completely hammered? Obviously a pet peeve of mine. I will 100% be making this again. I'm like mad at myself for not having made it already. Wow. Just water today, by the way. I decided to get fancy and pour it into a glass from another bottle. Just to give you guys that whole like pouring ASMR experience. I felt dehydrated lately. I was sick for like a good week and a half. I didn't have COVID or anything. I didn't have strep. I just had like a bad cold. Super annoying. I didn't film like the entire time. And now I'm kind of like, all right, let's try to ride this hydration train to the station. I need to be at least remembering to drink water more often because, oh my gosh, I'm just feeling the effects of it. If you're not into lobster, by the way, you could totally eat this chicken. Shane, my husband, will not eat seafood, shrimp, but he won't eat lobster. So I'm just gonna eat all this lobster, and I told him to just like cut up some chicken and add it in. I think like a roasted chicken, like maybe like lemon roasted chicken that you like pull instead of dice would be better texturally. So I got the basil from my little patio garden. Shane and I went to a local nursery and we got so many plants for 2 14-inch self-watering pots that I bought. And for everybody that's been following my Instagram stories, they told me, and they were so right, that I got way too much stuff. Like, I had way too much stuff. I had in one of the 14-inch pots, I had a tomato plant, cauliflower, broccoli, flowers, and 3 different herbs. Everyone was like, you are completely insane. All of that's gonna die. So I decided to repot the cauliflower and the broccoli to give the tomatoes a little bit more room, to give the cauliflower and the broccoli a little bit more room. And as soon as I moved them, which was this weekend, I want to say, the broccoli just completely, like, it already like kind of looked like it wasn't doing well, and then it just like died. And the cauliflower now, I took the broccoli out and the cauliflower is now like starting to be droopy, and I'm like, why? I just repotted you. You have all this room. I've been watering it. I've been like actually good about watering it. Like, throw me a freaking bone here. Obviously, I didn't start off on the right foot. I shouldn't have had them all in together. The tomatoes, I'm like crossing my fingers on. Only one of them has popped up, and I can tell where like there's all these like little places that it would like want to pop up, but they just aren't. So I don't know. If the cauliflower just completely dies, and I'm really gonna just try leaving it there, maybe it just needs to reacclimate or whatever, but maybe I'll like move the tomato plant to the one that the cauliflower is in. And then we got like a buttload of other stuff, just like flowers, pretty stuff for the other one. And it was like so much that I had to fill another pot that I already had with basil, which to be fair was like in the house, so I like had like a little bit extra space. But I bought sage, so it's like sage, basil. I put a jalapeno plant in there, and then this other just like decorative thing. The jalapeno died like immediately. I'm like, I have no idea what I did wrong, but it's just like I've been keeping everything watered. I even have those like little globe things that go in. Also, really funny, I looked at the weather for today and it's like full sun all day. I'm like, great, you know, I'm gonna film later. I won't have any problems. Literally, as I'm looking at the weather and it says full sun, there is full clouds. Like, it's not even just like some clouds here and there that's blocking the sun. It's like there was a flippin' fire or something. I'm like, what is happening out there? Like full fog, full smoke, full cloud, something. Like, it was like full coverage. Like, where is the disconnect? Who is talking to the weather people? Honestly, I try, guys. I really do. With my natural lighting. I am the claw. The claw's gonna get you. It's like the tiniest, cutest little claw. The claw. Can you see it? Can you see me now? Can you see me now? The claw. Nothing can stop the claw. It's tiny like it was in the movie. Oh, Shane is gonna absolutely love this. My mother is gonna absolutely love this. Everybody, all of y'all are gonna love this. Unless you don't like corn for whatever reason. It's in everything. I'm telling you, man, paying attention to your meat lobster, whatever it is that you're cooking, instead of just following what a recipe says, like cook chicken in 20 minutes, like how the hell do they know? Like how thick is your chicken? How thick is whatever it is that you're cooking? Meat thermometer is where it's at. You get so much more control over your final product. Makes a huge difference. And if you're gonna friggin' spend money on lobster, you don't want it to be friggin' hammered. What is it? Like 15 bucks maybe? Something like that. Get the meat thermometer. I have to buy this pasta to make this again. I just can't tell where the lemony flavor is coming from. The lemon juice has to be a little bit, but oh my gosh, this pasta. Mm. So the herbs that I have, this is like the last bit of information that I have about my little patio garden. I have oregano, which as soon as I relocated the broccoli and the cauliflower, it started to suffer. So I feel like maybe I pulled out some of their roots when I did it. I have Italian parsley, which is doing really well. And then I have mint, which is doing exceptionally well. And everyone's like, no, no, you do not want to have mint. And with everything else, it is going to take over. And they are so right. I love mint. So I'm excited to like cut a bunch of it down and use it for something. I'm like happy that it's growing as much as it is because I know like if I use a bunch of it, there's still gonna be a bunch of it left. That's kind of the same with my basil right now. That's not growing like the mint, but there's a lot of it and it's like thriving out there. I had it in my windowsill and it was just, no, like it hated being in the windowsill. It is thriving now. Doing so well, really making me feel successful in one way or another with this whole gardening thing. At least I have my basil, my flat leaf parsley, my sage, and my mint. Thank God for the herbs. Mm. I saved the best for last. Get a nice bit of that sauce, some herbage. I'm gonna get all the lobster out of here so my husband doesn't have to worry about picking it out. All right, guys, last bite. This was so flippin' good. Why do I not make sauces with vegetables more often? It's gotta happen. Seriously, I don't want to stop eating it. One more bite. I don't see any more lobster. I could keep going. I really could. I'm going to stop. I have to have some self-control. I am not hungry anymore. I'm like fairly full. It just shut off on me and I have absolutely no idea when. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I absolutely insist that you guys make this, especially before summer is over, while corn is sweet and in season and delicious. Highly recommend getting some lobster to put in it too. It's not part of the New York Times recipe, which, by the way, like, they make you pay for New York Times. And if you're watching, anyone from the New York Times, I never pay for these recipes. Sometimes they let you in and sometimes they don't. It's like every other time or every third time they're like, pay for the subscription or go to the homepage, and I'm like, dang it. And so I'll just like keep returning until they like let me see the recipe, and then I make it. So that's kind of what happened here. But because of that, I'm not going to do I just like give you guys the recipe? Ugh. But seriously, go to New York Times. I'll link the recipe is what I'll do. I'll just link the recipe in the description of the video. Of course, you have to let me know if you're able to get your hands on the recipe and make it. I highly, highly encourage you to. Comment below what you thought about this recipe. Have you guys ever made a sauce out of corn before? I feel like there's so many veggies that I just haven't explored in the way of sauce making. Comment below what other kind of veggie sauces you guys want to see me make. I mean, I'm probably gonna make pasta with all of them. Thank you guys again so much for joining today. Like, it really means so much that you guys show up for me here. The majority of you are just like the sweetest and super supportive and loving, kind people, and I just really appreciate that about you guys. So thank you. All right, guys, that's it for me. Thanks again for joining today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.